Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Destiny from Desphixs and welcome back to another video in the e-commerce project using Django. In this one, we'll get started working with the vendor, the store, and the customer models. That is what we'll be doing. Hopefully you will enjoy the video and learn something new. So let's get started. So I will begin by opening up my code editor. And for now, I'm going to bring down my terminal, or you can leave it just like this so that we can have more space to work with. And I want to collapse this just a bit to the left and close up every other thing that we have. So we'll be starting off with the store models. And based on the fact that I have spent about 40 minutes or so, I don't know how long the last video was, explaining how basic things works for model, I won't be writing out all the model code that we'll be using here. Rather, I will just copy some of them and paste and explain what's going on. Okay, so the very first thing that I will be needing here will be this import statements. So firstly, I'm importing short UUID from short UUID.django fields, and also from django.utils I'm importing this and all these other ones over here. Just so you know, if for any reason you don't have the source code yet, I will be placing this imports that we will be doing right here in the FastCart project materials. So please refer to this. Okay. And also, if you have the source code, you don't need to come over here again. You should have all the packages that you will be needing. Just hop over to the store models and you'll be able to grab the models and the imports from there. And also, you can still come over here, even if you have the source code and you quickly want to grab things, you can still grab it from over here. Okay. But if you have the source code, you don't need to do all this. You already have the full package. So anything that will be importing, I'll make sure to add it over here for you guys. So always make sure to check back here. Back to the code. After importing all this, you can see that I imported user auths, I imported user models, and also from vendor.models, I imported vendor models. Just so you know, the vendor models don't have anything for now. It's still blank. I just imported it in case we'll be needing this in the future. And in fact, to prevent confusions, I'm going to remove this for now. Okay. And after we've done this, I need a couple of tuples. Hopefully you remember what tuples are. If you don't remember, let me show you guys. So remember when we created the store, let me get back to the user auth. Remember when we created the user auth models, not the store? Do you remember this tuple over here that we used for the user type? Now we need that same thing for the store model, like the shipping services, the rating, the order status, the payment method, the payment settings, the product status. We need all that. And since we already have it over here, I don't think there is any reason typing it all out again. Here is all the import statements. Here is everything that we need for the tuples. Okay, so the status, the payment method, the order status, the shipping, and the rating. Okay, so after you've imported all that, that's basically everything that we want. Now let's create the first model. It will be called category, and this one will basically inherit from models.model. Now it's going to have a title, which is going to be a models.character field with a max length of 255, and it's also going to have an image, which is going to be a models.file field, and I'm going to upload 2 images. Now you might be asking me, Destiny, we used image field in the last video. Why are we now using file field in this one? So we're using file field basically because a user might actually want to upload a WEB image, which is WebP image, instead of a JPG or a PNG, or a user might even choose to upload an AVIF format as an image for the category. So we don't want to break them or yell at them if they upload something that is not a JPG or PNG. That is why we allow them to upload this. But in the future, we actually make this a little bit secure and tight, because opening the file feed here means that a user can upload things like CSV files or YML files or even some scripts which can execute because we are sending it to our database. So in the future, we will have to tighten this up. Okay, you could even still stick with image field for now and nothing is going to break. Okay, so for now that we are not tightening it up, let's stick with image field. All right, so we are uploading 2 images, and I want to say null can be true and blank can be true. So null can be true, blank can be true. Very good. So the next thing I will be needing here is a slug. I'm writing out this model without copying and pasting it because I want to show you guys the slug field. I didn't show you in the last one. So before I can actually start copying and pasting models, I want to show you guys most of the fields that I will be using so that when we paste them, you will know what they do and how they work. So slug is basically a way that we use to identify objects in the model, just like an ID. Let's say this category now is called financial advice. Now, let me comment this. Let me add a comment here. So if this is called financial advice, as soon as you slugify it, it will immediately become like this, financial dash advice. So this dash over here is a slug. So this is what we use to now, we can now use to identify this category. And I'm adding this in because whenever we want to visit a category, I don't want to show a random, long, annoying ID in the URL. Rather, I want to show a financial service or whatever the title of the category is in the URL for fetching a particular category. I hope that makes sense. Please follow along. Let's also create the Donda str, which is underscore underscore str underscore underscore. Passing self in here. And over here, we need to return the self.title. And I also need to create a verbose name. So let me show you guys. If we actually run make migration and migrate for this model in the admin, this is how it's going to show the categories. So category will be like this. It doesn't know that over here y isn't supposed to be there, or instead you should replace y with ie. It doesn't know. So what it does is it still puts the y, and as soon as we have more than one category, it appends s to it over there without actually knowing that you need to replace y with ies. So if you want to be able to tell Django that, hey Django, when there are multiple categories, use this name, what you need to do is say class meta, and over here I'm gonna say verbose underscore name underscore plural should be equal to categories. Okay. So in case you have seen me work with class meta in the past and for some reason you don't know what it does, but yeah, you're just using it because it works. Now let's understand and explain what this does so that you better understand and know when to use it. So in Django, when you create a model, you can include this special section that is called class meta. And this section basically will be used to give extra information about how Django should treat this model. Okay, that is why over here you can see that we are appending this. So Django is going to treat this model by simply renaming this name to categories whenever we have multiple items. So this is a special section that is injected into the model that helps us give extra information to how this model should be treated. So to better make you understand, imagine that you have a collection of toys and you want to give them a name. If you have just one toy, you might call it a toy, or you might call it teddy bear. But when you have many toys, you want to call them, let's say you have many teddy bears, you want to call them teddy bears instead of just teddy bear. I hope that makes sense, just like what I explained with the category and categories. So if you have one toy, it's toy. If you have many toys, it's toys with an S. So when you have many category, we now call it categories. I hope that makes sense. So this verbose name plural over here is like telling Django, hey, when I have more than one of these things, I want you to call them these special names. That is just it. And class meta is a way that you could use to give extra information to the model. And some of the things that you could also pass here are things like ordering. So you could also tell this model that it should be ordered by ID, or it should be ordered by title. So this means it's going to order this in ascending order from A to Z. So can you see, these are extra informations that we give to this model to actually do some things. So this one is a way to change, to render text based on the count of the item. This one is a way to order, and this one is a way to give extra information to the model. It's as simple as that. So that is pretty much it. Now we could take this a step further and also, okay, for now I don't have the product, so we could leave that out. Now let's create the products model. The products model is a particularly interesting one because firstly, it will be our largest model and most complex model. So let me just paste this here and let's go through it. So you can see that we have a name char field with a max length of 100, explanatory, self-explanatory, right? You can also see that we have an image that uses a file field, uploads to images, blank true, null true, and this is the default image that we will create in the future. Then we have a category that made a foreign key back to this category, which means that this product is categorized under whatever category it is linked to using this foreign key. And you can see that over here, I said, whenever this category gets deleted, do not delete this product. That is why I set it as null. Because it really does not make sense that you delete a whole product just because one category got deleted that is linked to the product. So that is why I set it as null. And whenever you're using the set null keyword here, make sure to pass in null to be true and blank to be true. You can leave out blank to be true, but null to be true is very compulsory whenever you're using the set null over here. Okay, so yeah, that is it. Then we have price, which is a decimal field. I highly recommend that you use decimal field when you will be working with things like that has to do with prices, amounts, discounts, saved, total, subtotal, things like that. When you'll be working with whole numbers, it's recommended that you work with integer field or positive integer field. But you might ask, so why do you like using decimal field for prices? Using decimal field for prices allows you to do things like specify max digits. This 12 over here means that it can hold up to numbers with 12 zeros. So it can hold up to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do you see? So this is 1,000 million, billion, trillion. So it can hold up to a trillion characters in here. Let me use that word. So decimal places, the next one, 2 over here, means that at the end of the day, when it has appended all this, the decimal places should always round up at 0, 0, which is 2. So if for any reason we had 1 trillion, blah, 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 it's going to take all this and limit it to only 2. Okay, just like that. So default 0.00 means that as soon as we initialize this model and some products don't have price field, give their default price as 0.00. So that's what this default does. Null should be true, blank should be true, just allows you to leave those fields as empty without breaking them. Now, another interesting one is verbose name, sale price. So this is a way that you could also use to give descriptive naming to your fields. You can see that this field here is just called price. But when I want to display this field to another user or to an admin, I want them to know that, hey, this is actually the sale price field, while this one is the regular price field. This over here just says shipping for the actual field name. But over here, we stepped it up a little bit by defining it to show shipping amount. Just so you know, this verbose name over here does not have anything to do with the model logic. This is just naming for display that a user would see. Okay. Now, if you go through this also, you see that we have stock, which is a positive integer field that will hold whole numbers, positive whole numbers. So over here we have 0, it's going to hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up to any amount that you want. Null can be true, blank can be true. Shipping is the same thing as the decimal field. Then we have status, which goes to the tuple at the top for status, this one over here. And after that, we have featured. So whenever this is marked, we'll show it on the home page or in the marketplace featured section. Then we also have vendor, which is a foreign key back to the user model. So we could as well make this to be a foreign key to a vendor model. But over here now, we are keeping things simple and let me say more tightly typed. Okay, so we leave it over here. Now, if you want, you could call this one user, but just for naming purposes, let's call it vendor. Okay, this is the school. I will generate the school automatically using a package called short UUID. So short UUID is a more faster and efficient way to generate IDs in Django. If you don't want to have to write out the code yourself, do it this way. So doing it this way, you go pass unique to be true. That means each product should have a unique school or SKU. The length should be 5. So the prefix plus whatever length that will pass in here should be like, okay, if this is 3, 1, 2, 3, this is 5, that should be 8. Make sure that your max length is greater than 8. If it's 8 here, it's still going to work, but just to keep things secure and simple, make sure that it's greater than 8, at least 10, at most 50. That is why you can see I added 50 over there. Alphabet are basically where the IDs we will be choosing from. So this length over here 5 will be chosen from this. You can change this up to whatever you want, numbers, symbols, whatever you want. Okay, then we have slug. I believe I have showed you slug in the past. Then we have date over here. If you take a close look at this, you see that I have date should be equal to models.date time field with default equal to time zone dots. Now, if you've been following along with other tutorials of mine, you will notice that I like doing things like date should be equal to default, auto now add should be equal to true. That's what I like doing. But now I like using this because it gives me the opportunity to see what the date is in the Django admin. Although even if you don't do it this way, you can still manipulate it from the admin to see what the dates are. But yeah, let's just keep it this way for now to see what the dates are in the admin. Okay. I will go ahead and also add class meta. Remember that class meta is a way that we used to give extra information to the model, and the informations that we're giving now is telling it to order from the oldest, rather from the newest products to the oldest. And whenever we have multiple products, go ahead and append S to the keyword. Okay. And over here, we returned a string representation of the object. Now, I would also want to override the default save method to populate the slug. So define, save, self, args, and quacks. I've explained this in the previous videos, so please do not forget to make reference to those. And I checked. If not self.slug, which means self.slug does not exist for the product, we go ahead and generate a new slug for the product. Now what we did over here is say, set this to the slug field. And what we are setting is, we basically take the name of the product and then we slugify it. So what that will do is, if the name of the product is cute beanie, or if the name of the product is red hat or red pants, what it will do is you take red hat and add a slug in between them. That's what the slugify is going to do. And this one over here basically appends a random UUID to the back of the product. In case two products were called hats, I want to say append hats dash maybe 87 an ID to just make that slug to be unique. That's what I'm doing over here. Then finally, I save. Okay, so that is it. Now, other cool models that we will be having over here will be the variants. Let me show you. So this is the variant, and I also need the variant item and the variant item, this one. So this is a variant, pure new model. It has a foreign key back to product, which means we'll be able to know that this product here has this particular variant associated with them. Then we have the name of the variant, which might be like size or color or specification or whatever you want to put in there. Okay. Then over here, we have a new model called variant item. So each color, we have its items like green, yellow, red, blue. This is where we actually put in the items for each variant. Title here is going to be like, let's say SL, then content is going to be whatever you want it to be. Now, let me give you, let me describe this using specifications. So let's say you have a variant called specification and you're adding a variant item. The title might be made in, then the content will be India, or made in USA, or maybe it weighs 70 pounds. I hope this makes sense. Then we also returned a $str. So what we did over here was basically return all the variant items that are related to a particular variant by saying, hey, filter all the variant item where the variant field or the variant model in the variant item is equal to self, which is this one here. That's what we did. So whenever we call variant dot items, we will be able to grab all the variant items related to those variants. So this is just like a way of adding a new field to the model, okay? But instead in a function format. That is it. Now, other ones that I will be needing will be gallery. Let me bring this one in. Gallery. And you can see same products foreign key. It also have image and gallery ID. Gallery ID was added here specifically for the purpose of identifying each item in the gallery. Okay. And then we have the more interesting ones like the carts. Let me bring that in. The carts, it has products field, it has user, it has quantity, price, subtotal, shipping, tax, total, size and color, cat ID, and then date. And now you might be asking, so Destiny, why do we actually have a cat model? Does it really make sense? Why didn't you just save the cat in the session or something like that? Now, I'm doing this just for the purpose of scaling, okay? Because if for any reason your app gets very, very huge and users are like, hey, whatever your name is, maybe, hey, John, which is the creator of the application, I want to be able to add items to carts on my desktop. And maybe when I'm in the office or maybe when I'm walking the dog, I want to be able to check out from my mobile phone instead of waiting to come back home and hop onto my PC. Now, that is where saving cart items to database comes to play. A user can easily retrieve all their items just by logging into their database. And we made it cool because a user can actually retrieve their item if they are logged in or retrieve their item on the particular device using the cart ID. So it's actually dynamic and very, very responsive and fast. I'm going to show you guys how all this works when we start writing the code. So you see how we integrated all this. Now, we also have another model called coupon. Let me bring that in. This one is going to be used for discounts. So we have vendor, which links to the vendor that owns the coupon. Then we have the actual code itself, like the Destiny 120 or whatever you want to put as the code. Then we have the discounts, maybe 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, whatever you want to put in there. Then we returned the $str. Then we have another one for order. I'm going to just bring in the order and the order items together. So I'm going to bring that in and put it down here. So this is the order model. Looks almost identical to the cart. If you go through it, you see that it looks identical to the cart, same as the order item. So this order over here has this vendor here. This vendor many-to-many field helps us target each vendors that were related to one order. Because this is a multi-vendor and a single seller platform, we have to build it with multi-vendor features in mind. If for any reason you then want to use it for a single seller, you don't need to do anything, because I've seen a lot of people have issues where, yep, we built a multi-vendor e-commerce and they're like, so how do I turn this to become a single seller e-commerce? You don't need to do anything. You just need to create one vendor and continue selling as usual, like it's a multi-vendor. But everything is now going to be for one vendor. So you don't need to do anything. That is why we passed in vendors over here. You can easily switch your application into a multi-vendor, or you could remove all the vendors and retain just one vendor, which is going to be the single seller. So we built all this with multi-vendor logic in mind, while also knowing that it can be used for single seller. Okay, so you could go through all this, go through the fields. Customer goes to the user model, and we have a related name customer here so we don't break it. Then we have subtotal, shipping, tax, and service fee, and every other thing that we will be needing here, like knowing how many coupons that have been applied, the order ID, the payment ID that was used. This will be used for real-time verification of payments to prevent payment issues in general. And then we returned this class meta, which is a way of giving extra information to the model. And those are the extra informations that were passed in. We also returned the $str, which is a string representation of the model. And over here, we also returned the custom order items model. What this one will do is to basically fetch all the items that are related to a particular order, so that you can call order underscore item, then fetch all the items that were ordered in this particular order here. I hope that makes sense. Order item is just like the child item, individual items that were included in that particular order. So this one will then help us know which vendor their product was actually ordered, and know which vendor to give payout to, send email to, give notifications, and all that kind of cool stuff. Okay, so that's what we did over here. You can also see that in the order item we have color and size, because it's in the order item that we will not be able to include color and size, not in the order model over here. I hope this makes sense. Then for the final one, for the store, I'm going to import the reviews model. So these have now saved us a lot of time from typing all this out. You can see reviews for the user, product, review and reply, the rating, whether it's active or inactive, whether it has been moderated or not. By default, I want to make it to be inactive, because a user might actually leave a review that's, really does not fit our platform, or maybe they had curse words in it, or maybe they had insulting words in it. So we'll go ahead and firstly disable the review so that it can be moderated, or maybe moderated, and maybe we can get back to the user and know why they left such words and actually talk with them. Then we could go ahead and make the review live. I hope that makes sense. If this is not something that you want, you could go ahead and turn this back to true or totally remove this field. Okay. Yep, that is it for the model, store model. Let's see what's wrong. Then we can start creating other models. The very first thing that you can see over here is that we have customer.address defined in the order item, which does not actually exist. So over here in the order, you can see this address. Let me look for it. Here you go. Comment it out for now because we don't have that model. Let's see what the next error is. There you go, errors fixed. So let's go ahead and run python manage.py, make migrations, and also python manage.py migrate. I said I was going to look into what's causing the py.env, but I guess that escaped my mind. Hopefully I remember and look into it now when I'm done with this video. Okay. So now we are done with this. We've made migrations and also migrated. The next thing will be to go ahead and install it in the admin. Now, installing in the admin is just like what we did in the previous video where we installed this for the profile. But now I'm going to take it a step further and also do things like create tables for the admin, show the ones that can be edited, pre-populate slug field as soon as you start typing into the input field, and show some other tables. But how do we do this? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in the admin configurations for the store. This is the store. Open up admin py, and let me close this up and close this up. Then paste this. Let's go through it so that you don't get confused. Please don't think that this is like a very complex code. It's very simple and easy. Just repetition of things over here just to show different models. So these ones here are inlines. All this will be related to a particular product. So a particular product should have gallery, multiple items in its gallery, right? And it should also have multiple variants, right? So that's why we have created inlines for gallery and variants and passed it in here to the products admin, which means that we can be able to add multiple gallery images and also multiple variants from the products. I will show you guys this later. List display. How do I want to order the products model to show up in the admin list page, not in the detail page? So in the list, I firstly want to show the name, the category, the price, then every other field here. And also search fields. Whenever you want to search for an item, what should we search by? Firstly, we search by name, and we also want to search by category __ title. So __ over here is a way of saying, hey, search from category.title, which is a field in the category model. But you cannot use dot over here. What you can use is a field lookup __. Okay, you can't use chaining in here in a string. That's not gonna work. And also we have list filter. We want to be able to filter products by status and also if it's featured. And we also want to be able to filter products by category. And we have pre-populated fields. We want to pre-populate the slug field with whatever that gets typed into the name. Just so you guys see what's going on, let me get back here, run my server. And I'm going to open up my website again. Come here and reload this page. And now can you see all these models showing up? If you open up the product model, let me open up the product model. And now you can see that we can filter by status, marketplace. Okay, we don't have category yet. That's why we can't see it. We can also search. That's why we added the search fields, and we can add products. So now we are getting this reverse for CKEditor, blah, blah, blah. This issue is because CKEditor works with uploading images for us. So we need a way to actually tell CKEditor how to work with the URL where images will be uploaded. And to do that, all you need to do is open up your code, open up your ecom_prj urls py, and just down here, add a comma and paste this simple line of code. Okay. And another thing that we need is the configurations for the CKEditor. I believe I have dropped this for you guys in the GitHub repo. So please make reference to that. Let me also look into that. Open up the settings py here. And if you scroll down, you can see this one here called custom palette and CKEditor 5 configs. So please make reference to that. And you can see this one here also. You could pause the video and type this out. This is a way of telling Django how to route URLs for the CKEditor. In the settings PY, we can then go ahead and paste the CKEditor configuration files here. Okay, so let's see what we have. It's reload. So it's reloaded. Now you can reload this page. And now we're getting this. So this error is because CKEditor is not installed in the settings.py. We installed the package, yes, but we need to be able to install CKEditor directly in the settings PY for it to actually work and know how to get its template. So open up your settings PY and all the way to the installed app section. Here, I'm going to add this one called CKEditor 5. So Django underscore CKEditor underscore 5. And then you could reload your code again. Let's see what we got. Oh, there you go. This is now working. So you can see that we can add multiple galleries. See, because we have more than one of this, you can see that it shows galleries with an S, ignoring the Y. It doesn't know that it should change the Y. Okay. So if you want to fix that also, you could follow the same route for what we did. Yeah, let me show you. So remember the gallery model. Look for that. Gallery model was somewhere here. Make sure to add in the verbose name plural. Then over here, add galleries or just gallery. I think I prefer gallery. Very good. So then allow this to rerun. But it says, okay, yeah, this one over here is referencing dates, which doesn't exist. So please get rid of that. That's why we're getting that error. Now that you have done this, you could get back here and reload your page. And there you go. This is now working. Let's quickly add a new product. For now, I don't actually have any products image, or I think I could work something out for myself. Let me look for the project course. Yeah. Let me open up course, open up Django e-commerce, open up media files. I believe I should have some images, product images here. Yep, here you go. So I'm going to open up this one. And for the name, as soon as I start typing Sunny A7C, you can see that it should populate it in the slug. Can you see? Sunny A7C. Very good. So for the description, I don't know what you want to put there. You can put whatever you want. I'm just going to put this. And for the category, we don't have any. So let's create a new category. And let's say mobile, or rather, let's say cameras. You could choose an image or you could leave it null for now. Price, we want to sell this camera for $500. Its old price was $700. We have 5 of these in stock. Cost $3 to ship out. $3 to ship out. Yeah, let's feature it in the marketplace. Let's publish it right away. Its vendor should be Destiny. And variant. Let's give it a color, size, and specifications variant. Let's also select some images for it. I'm going to select this. And then you could now go ahead and save. Okay, we are getting this issue because let's see what's going on. Okay, it's referring us back to the product model. And let's carefully look here. We returned underscore strself.name. Here we did, let's look at this. Self.slug would be equal to this. That's if not self.slug. The code looks good actually. I don't know if you guys have seen something that doesn't look good. So expected str, bytes or OS, parts like object, not a list. One thing I can make of this error is that this particular error here actually occurs only when a list is passed into a file field or an image field. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure that, let me reload this, or rather just cancel the whole, yeah, just like this, cancel. And I want to make sure that I am using just one item and not multiple images for this. I can't even select multiple images in the first place. And you know what? For now, I'm not going to add anything in the gallery just to be sure that that's not where the bug is coming from. I'm going to save this. Okay, you said this is empty. Let's add in something in here. And for now, let's save. See, it's saved. Now let's add an image just to be sure that the problem is not from this one. Save. Okay, that's caused an issue. That one caused an issue. I'm going to reload. Let's try to add an image to the gallery to make sure that that's not where the issue is coming from. Okay, that's too caused an issue. Very good. So what's going on? Let's see. Just for debugging purposes, I'm going to start off by changing this file fields to image fields. Just so you know, this is just for debugging purposes, okay? Change this one also to this. And I'm going to remove this default from here and just stick with images slash. Same thing for product. I'm going to remove this default one here and just stick with images slash. So now let's go ahead and run make migrations and migrate again. And then I will run my server one more time. There you go. And now let's try this again. So for this, I'm going to go back just to try it again. And over here, I will try to upload an image for this one. Let me firstly clear it so that we don't have anything there. So now when we try to add a new image, save. Okay, we still seem to be getting the same issue. So let's see what's wrong. So even after changing this to image field, the error still persists, but I think I found the issue. So in this Stack Overflow question, I just copied this error over here and pasted it on my browser and just appended Django admin to it. Then I found this one, opened it up, and over here, as soon as I saw this, I knew, oh yeah, I actually have made this mistake in my code, and turns out I did. Then to confirm, I also went down to see the answer, and you can see in the answer this was removed. So it should be a string, not a list. That's what's causing the issue. Now, if for any reason you get back to our code, you can clearly see that over here it's a list, not a string. It should be a string just like this. Okay. So now run your code again. Python manage py run server, and this should definitely work now. So when you reload and save, there you go. It's now working. So see, this image should now exist here. There you go. That is pretty much it. The store is working. The store models is working as expected. Now we could work with customer or we could work with vendor. Let's work with customer. So I'm going to open up the customer models, and we have very basic model here, just 3 of them. And I'm going to grab and paste it down here. You can see I have the stop hole and I have the wish list. Very simple, just user and product. And you could also see that I have the verbose name for the model, and I also have done that str that checks if a product's name exists. We return the product's name, else we just return the wish list keyword over here. And I also have the same thing for address. You can see for the address we have user, full name, mobile, email, country, and all those other ones. And finally, same for notifications. That is good. So you can now go ahead and run manage py, make migrations and migrate. Please, I want you to follow along step by step. You see, whenever we create any model, we make its migration and migrate. That is to prevent secular error for us. So whenever you don't actually migrate as you create models, at the end of the day, you will have a lot of secular dependency error that will be waiting for you to fix them. Okay. So after you have done this one, the last on our list will be the vendor models. The vendor models will not really be used that much, but yeah, I created it so that we could just store some things. Okay. So I'm going to come down here and click on vendor and open up its models and basically paste in its model over here. So this have saved us a lot of time. Instead of typing all this out, you can see that I have also defined payouts methods. Just like I said, I'm working on the payouts for vendor, and payouts will be made to PayPal, Stripe, Nigerian bank accounts, Indian bank accounts, and maybe USA bank accounts. But I've not been able to know how to send payments directly to USA bank accounts. Perhaps we might just work with Stripe and PayPal for Europe. Then we could send directly to bank accounts in India. If we can't do that, we could work with Razor Pay or some other payments gateway. But I know that Paystack and Flutterwave actually gives this API endpoints that help you send money directly to Nigerian bank accounts. So I'm sure of this one. I'm also sure of PayPal and Stripe, but I'm not sure of Indian bank accounts. So if you think you know a way that we can actually send money directly to a bank account in India, you can let me know so that we will look for the API that does that and know how to integrate it. Okay. But don't worry, in the meantime, I'll keep looking into this. And also we have this type here for notification, which helps us know if it's a new order, item has been shipped, or item has been delivered. We also have the vendor model here, which can also be linked to the product. That's if you want. You could actually do whatever you want with that one, okay? Since it has a one-to-one field, and we don't have this as the vendor in the product, we could still say request.user.vendor, and we get the vendor that owns a product. Then we have this payout model. This is where we keep track of all the amounts that we have paid out to a vendor. This is where they fill in their bank accounts, like their Stripe ID, PayPal address, or their bank account name and account number. And finally, notifications. So let's go ahead and configure the admin. The admin looks similar to the product admin. Here it is. So please, you could go through this. I will leave out those models and admins that I have copied and pasted for you guys, so that you don't find it difficult following along. And also for the customer admin, we also need that customer admin PY. We will copy that and paste it down here, and bingo, we are done. So let's now go ahead and run Python manage PY, make migrations and also migrate, and see what we have. Then I will run Python manage PY run server. Good. So when you've done all this, we can now open up our page here and reload. And there you go. We can see customer, we can see vendor with all the fields that are needed. That is basically it, guys. In the next video, we will now start off with the fun things. I think that's really the interesting part of this course, where we'll then start writing codes to start listing products, items, orders, and adding to cards, and start doing the fun things and start working with templates. So it's highly recommended that you have the templates, because from the next video, we'll start making very good use of the templates. If you're looking to get it, you could use this link over here. You could get the raw templates. This one purely for the tutorial, we can go with that. Or if you need the completed source code, you could get it from over here. And also I will be pasting some of the things that we used for this tutorial here, in case you guys want to still copy and paste just like I did and you don't want to type all that out. So you could go ahead and do that too. Okay. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned something new. If there's something that you don't understand, let me know in the comment section below and I'll be very happy to help you out. Also, I'll highly recommend that you hop over to desphixs.io and drop your email for us, so that we will be able to notify you as soon as we launch the really cool application that we'll be building that should help us become better programmers. That is going to be it. I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, mad love. Peace out.